Welcome to the Dog Nerd Show, where we geek out over our best friends. I'm Megan.
And I'm Michael, and this is a show about all things dog.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we've got an exciting episode. We are talking about what to expect at a barn hunt event.
Yeah, so we went to one over the weekend and participated. Well, Dansby participated. We participated.
Dansby and Megan participated because
Yeah.
it's almost just as much on the human as it is on the dog.
Yeah, it really is. It was very...
Hey, before we jump in, we've got a sponsored episode.
That's true. It's sponsored.
Yes. So this episode is brought to you by the Riley Carson book series. Riley Carson is like Nancy Drew meets Animal Rescue, and it is for kids 9 and up or dog lovers of all ages. So be sure to check it out at RileyCarsonSeries.com. I am the author of the books. There are 3 in the series. The 4th one is in the works. And hey, drop a comment if you've read them and let me know what you think.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So it's children of all ages will enjoy this book. I stole that from Barnum.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about barn hunt. So it was our first true trial. So
Yeah.
I think we talked before about how Riley, back when we were doing Earth Dog with Finley and Riley was not one to go into the tunnels. So she did a little demo barn hunt and knocked it out of the park. So stay tuned to the end and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But right now we'll jump into what to expect. So first thing that you need to do is you actually need to go to barnhunt.com and register your dog.
And who can register?
Anyone can register.
So you don't have to have a pure breed or anything like that.
No.
Anybody can register.
Correct. Yeah, this is for any dog. So I think there are some limitations if they can't walk, like if they're in a wheelchair kind of a situation.
Okay.
But yeah, all types of dogs. So you go to barnhunt.com, you sign up, get an account, register your dog. You do get to pick a name for your dog. And since Dansby is a mixed breed and doesn't have any registered name, we call him Dapper Dansby.
Dapper Dansby.
Yes. So the reason we haven't registered Strider yet, because she's only been to one class and she's still learning how to be a dog outside of a puppy mill. So
Yeah.
if you have questions about why Strider wasn't enrolled, it's because she's not ready yet. But we did do some training courses with someone locally, and she felt that Dansby was ready to give it a shot. So we got his number, and then when you go to barnhunt.com, you can look for events in your area. Mm-hmm. We knew this one was coming up, so we went ahead and registered for it. And this one was hosted by Georgia Barn Hunt, which is an awesome group. If you guys are in Georgia or in the Southeast and you want to come to some of their events, they have a great, very active Facebook page. So they did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Knowing that this was Dansby's first time, we said, let's just try Saturday.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move. And by the way, Georgia Barn Hunt had an incredible showing and did a great job. It was very well organized, very timely, just really enjoyable experience.
Yeah, it really was. The people were great. And like Michael said, it was like a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
So you get there, and if it's your first time, you need to get there early. So typically what they do is they run the Instinct, which is the simplest one. That's like if your dog has never seen this before. And they put out 3 tubes, one with a rat, one with litter, and one with nothing. And
so let me ask this. We didn't do Instinct because we'd been doing the training, a couple classes with our trainer. Do you think it's a good idea to do Instinct?
I think it might have been a good idea to do it at that first trial, especially knowing that Dansby is a very shy dog that is scared of people and new situations, because I think had he done Instinct, he might have really understood why he was there. Yeah. So I think that's a good point. I think in retrospect, probably would have enrolled him in Instinct. So he's like, okay, this is what we're here for. So Instinct usually runs first and then Novice. And then it goes on from there. And check out our video that explains barn hunt and all the levels, because we go into detail with that. This episode is just like, hey, what to expect.
Right. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll put a link down below for
yes.
that.
So you get there early, and they will tell you, like, there was a briefing at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So at 8 a.m., there was a briefing, and, the people that are in open and master and all the other levels, they pretty much understand what they're doing. It's for us newbies that are like, what do we do? And I was on the Facebook group the evening before, saying, I'm nervous about this. What are some tips? And people were awesome. So big shout out to all the people on the Georgia Barn Hunt group. So they give you the briefing, you get to ask questions, and then they start the instinct. Then the judge did come and do a briefing for when novice started.
Oh, okay.
So that was actually by the judge that was judging. And so she gave some reminders, and then you're ready to go. Before I jump ahead, at this particular event, when you check in, they just had a clipboard, and you just find your name, check off that you're there, so they know you're there. And then they had a whiteboard at the blind area. So
explain the blind just a little bit.
Yeah. So the blind is so that you cannot watch the course and see where they're hiding the rats. Now, you really wouldn't know anyway, because there's 3 different tubes, but you would know where the tubes are hidden.
Right.
So they basically had a tent set up, and there were partitions with like stretchy fabric in between. And there were 5 people per blind. So 5 people and their dogs. So you sat in a chair, and there was the partition between each dog, which was great, because if you have a nervous dog or a dog that just wants to play and be crazy, because they do have to be somewhat calm in the blind.
Right.
What I did not know, and thanks to the people on the Facebook page for letting me know this, I was concerned because Dansby's been getting a little rowdy when he sees a little rowdy is kind of an understatement, when he sees a dog in the neighborhood. I was afraid, hey, maybe he's changing and he's just getting way rambunctious around other dogs. So I was concerned about would he stay calm in the blind. So they said you can bring his favorite toy in, you can bring treats in, but when you leave the blind and go into the ring, you have to deposit that stuff.
Yeah, and they set a little chair out for you to put that stuff there. So you would see that chair filled with treat bags and leashes and everything else.
No, the leash has to go in with you. So
I think they had some people had 2 leashes. And
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
they had the easy on off leash.
Yeah. So, but it's up to you to remember that. And as I got up for the first go round, I was like, oh, got to take this treat pouch off. So I almost forgot. So that's up to you. You have to pay attention to that yourself. If you go into the ring and you've got the treat pouch on, they're not going to say anything to you. And if your dog successfully passes it within 2 minutes and you had the treat pouch on, you're not going to get a qualification. So that just keep that in mind. So people were very nice. People that had done this before were telling me, giving me tips and all that stuff.
Real supportive too.
Yes.
Like, hey, how did you do? They were very supportive.
Yeah. It's a really good atmosphere, not competitive, at least not what we saw. So it was great. So you go in, you put your stuff on that chair or table or whatever they have set up for you. You go into the fenced off area. So we were inside a building. There was a fenced off area with like PVC type fencing. And there was a mat, like a piece of like a rectangle of foam that had green tape around the edges. That was our start area. This may be different from barn hunt to barn hunt, but that was our start area. You get you and your dog in the start area, and at that point you have to take off the leash and collar. So they have to go in on a leash, and they have to be leashed up before they leave. That's rules. Like, I think you can get not a no cue disqualification if you don't do it that way, because it's for the safety of the dog, right? So once they're securely in and the gate is closed and latched, the judge said, when you're ready, release your dog. So I slipped Dansby's martingale collar off, which was connected to the leash, slipped it off, and off we went. So the first time, Dansby was like, what are we doing? And why are all these people staring at me?
There was quite a few people around, because you can walk right up to the fence, the netting or whatever it's called, but you can't go over it. Like, you can't, like, if you're taking a video, you can't stick your camera over it, but you could stand right up next to it, parallel with it. And there was a lot of people. I was like, wow.
It didn't feel like, was it a lot?
It was.
Well, my one thing was there were two people standing right next to the fence where the rat ended up being. So Dansby didn't really want to go over there. You know, the judge is watching him. There's a rat wrangler in the ring, you know. So Dansby's kind of like, I'm confined in a space with strangers and I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I couldn't get him to climb up onto the hay bales. At one point, he put his little paws up at me and scratched. And once you're in the ring, you cannot touch your dog.
Right.
So, you know, I just had to, you know, ignore him and try to get him to look around.
Now, can you ask him to do something?
Okay, this is where I need clarification.
Okay.
At this point, I realized I'm not going to worry about whether Dansby's qualifying or not because he's not even hunting. So I was trying to like tell him to search for the rat and stuff like that. I don't know. So barn hunt people, I'm going to ask you this anyway, so you may as well comment on this.
Put it in the comments below.
How much talking are you actually able to do with your dog once you start? Now, one person told me that they generally kind of walk a lap around and just like with their fingers, go search, you know, go find whatever their term is to get their dog. And I think you can like point around and stuff like that, but I don't know how much you can do. So that's the thing I don't know.
Yeah. Can you like touch things? Probably not. You can probably just like, where's the rat? And then that's it, you know?
Yeah, I'm not too clear on that. I know at one point I asked the judge something and she's like, I can't talk to you. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I just did not know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But she was nice.
And that's okay because we're there learning.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, it's about the dog enjoying what they're doing.
Exactly. I didn't care if I looked like an idiot because I didn't know what I was doing. As long as Dansby was there having fun and I was having fun with him, that's what mattered. So, hey, and look, I was just glad he didn't pee or poop in the ring. My fear was that because sometimes Dansby
sounds like my mother. Just glad he didn't pee and poop.
So I don't want Dansby to hear this, so I'm going to talk quietly. But sometimes when he gets nervous, he has a nervous poop. And I did not know what a nervous poop was until we had Dansby. Like Finley and Riley were never nervous enough to do like a nervous poop. And let's just put it this way. It's not easy to clean up. So I was fearful that was going to happen. That didn't happen. So I call it a win. So we ran out of time. You know, our time had passed. And like I said, so in the novice one, there's one rat, one litter tube, and one empty tube hidden. You can't tell where they are. So like, don't even try looking. Watch your dog and see what they do. They also have to climb up onto a hay bale and then they have to go through a tunnel. And on the novice one, it's a short tunnel. So it's not hard. They had another setup there that had like a 90-degree tunnel. It would have been fine if he had gone through there, but he wasn't interested in going under any tunnels at that point. So she showed us where the rat was and she let him sniff it. You know, he was still kind of like, I just don't know what I'm doing here. And there's too many people around. So, so we slipped his collar and leash back on and off we went. So I was like, well, I don't know what we're going to do next time because I don't know if Dansby is going to feel comfortable. So we talked to some people. We met a really great couple who has 2 border terriers. So of course we bonded immediately. We brought Strider. So she was not entered, but she does not like to be left alone. And if we had left her for several hours without Dansby, I think she might have killed herself.
Yeah.
So she's never been without Dansby either. So, she loved meeting the border terrier people. Dansby loved meeting the border terriers. I think that little socialization period was really good for him. What do you think?
I agree. You know, Strider will probably do this in the near future, but with her, I would expect if you put her in the ring, she's going to walk up to the judge, wagging her tail, and kind of lay down and say, "Scratch my belly." So she's probably not ready yet. But it was good to have both of them there to kind of experience the experience. Yeah. And I think with Dansby, I think he's this close. And he's got to know why he's there. And with his fear of other people, well, that can be a problem that hopefully this will help him work through it. That hey, not everybody's a bad guy. Not everybody is. I don't need to be afraid of anybody. I'm doing something fun, and these people are like encouraging me to do it. That's our hope.
Yeah. Well, and with the couple that we met that have the border terriers, he did take treats from the man, which is big. Mm-hmm. And he did put his paws up on the lady's knee, so twice. Yeah. So that's big for Dansby. So socialization is an ongoing process, and he's getting so much better. So we'll talk about the second time he went in.
Yeah.
So just so you've got the lay of the land, right? So you can see the whiteboard, and you can see what heat you're in. So there's, I think there were like 5 or 6 heats. And if they have an intact dog or I don't know if all intact dogs went last, but I know that the bitches in season went last because they're aromatic, and you don't want, other dogs getting, confused. So you look for your name, and that gives you a good idea of how much time you have. Uh-huh. You can sit and watch other heats. So and I probably should have done a little more of that to see like just how people, what do they do when they go in there? How much are they talking, or what are they doing? So the very important thing is on the heat before yours, take your dog to go potty. So in fact, the second time I took Dansby to go potty, and then I was talking to someone outside, and they came calling for Dansby, to get him into the blind. So of course I'm like running, and they're like, "You don't have to run. It's okay." But you need to pay attention because, it went quicker the second time. Uh-huh. So they call you in, you get. Big thing is when you're sitting in the blind, you cannot communicate with anyone outside the blind. Even if your husband's out there videoing you or anything, you can't, because like he could potentially see where the tubes might be and have some secret communication to let me know where to look or whatever. So
yeah, I could give him one of these.
Yeah. Some baseball signs.
Still second.
So it's important. You can talk to your other competitors in the blind, but you cannot talk to anyone outside the blind.
Okay. So I thought when you were talking about when you were inside the actual arena, you're saying
in the blind.
When you're in the blind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. When you're in the blind, you cannot talk to anybody that's outside the blind.
That's very important because I didn't know that was a thing. I could have been the idiot over there going, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. One of the ladies told me she told somebody good luck, and they were like, "You can't." And she's like, "Oh, I forgot, or I didn't know," or whatever. So that's important to know. You can talk to the people in the blind, but you can't talk to anyone outside the blind. Right. I think that's the big stuff. Remember, so the second time I was like, look, Dansby did great in the blind. He didn't need a toy or treats. So I didn't, honestly, since I rushed back, I didn't have anything anyway, but I didn't need anything for him in the blind. He was fine. So if you don't have to have something in there, I wouldn't bring anything, because the chances of you forgetting and then bringing it in, that would be really sad if they actually qualified, but you, the human, had something you weren't supposed to. One thing you're not supposed to have, and this is in the rules, but you're not supposed to have like a poop bag or anything hanging from your leash. So we used Strider's leash that day. Dansby's has the poop thing on it, so we switched. But and whatever is easiest to get off and on your dog, like, a complicated harness is not a good idea, so just quick snap off collar or whatever, do something like that, because the judge doesn't want you dilly-dallying once you get in there. So the second time we go in, and he actually this time worked. It was great. It was like, I think I know why I'm here. And that's why Michael was saying maybe it would have been a good idea for him to do instinct, just to understand why he was there. So I think next time we do it, we'll do instinct. and then we'll do
I agree.
novice, just so he understands why we're there. So he goes straight in, and he goes. So there was like the mat was in the middle, the starting area. There was some short tunnel and some hay bales right in front of us, and then behind that there was like a 90-degree hay bale in the corner. He went straight to that corner, and then he started looking around. And so he was sniffing some places, and we had seen in the previous go round, we had seen 2 peas and 1 poop in the ring. And so I probably was a little leery of him getting over to that far side because I didn't want him, but he didn't really go over there. He stayed around the kind of central area. I did get him to climb. I asked him to climb, and he did. He sniffed a little bit around there. But the thing with Dansby is he really doesn't give a great notification when he's found the rat. You know, like Finley or Riley would have lost their minds and, you know, let us know.
Yeah, there's no mistaking. There's a rat in there with Finley and Riley.
And this is where the human element comes in, right? So we have to know all the rules, which I'm still like, okay, how much talking can I do? How much, you know, whatever can I do? But the thing we need to know is we need to know our dog's signal, and it's going to be different for every dog. So the gate steward told me that one of her corgis, she knew when it found the rat, when its ears like perked a certain way. She was like, oh, and she thought that dog not only smelled it, but heard it. Mm-hmm. But her other dogs didn't do that. So I don't really know what Dansby's tell is. Some people have said that and our trainer said you can do this, is teach them to paw at it when they know they've found it. So we need to work on that big time. I basically said to the judge, I'm going to say the rat is here. And this was on the hay bales. She's like, no, let me show you. It was right where Dansby went at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, he went right to it.
He went right to it, but he just kind of went there. And then, you know.
And like, he never really went back to it either.
No.
Because I kept going, oh, he's going to go back to it. Because I knew where it was.
Oh, he was watching, so he knew where it was.
I knew where it was. And of course, I can't say anything. I can't even indicate or look or
They
anything.
even said if you're taking photographs, don't start clicking when the dog gets close. Because if I can hear that his camera's clicking, then that means, oh, he must be close.
Yeah.
So it's really, you know, because it has to be fair. It has to be, your dog has to figure it out on its own.
Yeah.
So we need to work on the tell, like, what, Dansby, what's your notification for me? And then I just need to get comfortable with what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. So I think what I'd like to do is when we go back to Kate's for training, I want to set up a tripod and film. Mm-hmm. And I want her to do, like, me and Dansby go outside. She hides the stuff. We go in and we do it like a trial. So I know exactly what I can do and what I'm looking for with him. And then I want to video it because I want to see, like, what is Dansby doing, you know, and do that several times. So it's like, what is he doing each time, and compare it to see.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about going to the Barn Hunt website or getting registered or going to your first event, please comment below.
Or if you've done your first event, or if you've done this forever, you know, please impart some wisdom upon us, because it is something that we believe our dogs are going to really enjoy. And something they can do together, because, you know, Strider is full blood border terrier, but Dansby's mixed, so they can't really do some things together. So it's great that there's this event that allows mixed breeds to participate. So we're all in on it. But yeah, just leave us a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, and I'm sure we didn't get video of this, but there was a pit bull that was amazing at it. And I can't remember, I think it was its second run. I saw it go. Maybe it was its first. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It went in there. It found the rat. I think at one point did a zoomie. It climbed on the hay. It went through the tunnel, and it was done. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It was impressive. And, our trainer was there and she said, look, if the people are too much for Dansby at this event, maybe scent work is a better option for him, which is just you and your dog on a long leash where they have to find scents. I think he would be really, really good at that.
Oh,
so
I
I
know
think
he
we
would
should
be.
try it. But I'm not going to give up on Barn Hunt
He's
because
got bloodhound in him.
he's got sled dog in him too. So I just think he needs to get more comfortable with it. And I think this is a good part of his socialization experience. So, give us your words of wisdom below. And hey, do you want to tell them in brief about Riley's first and only barn hunt experience? And I want to say part of the reason I really want to give these guys a chance with barn hunt and, some other sports is because I feel guilty that we didn't do more of barn hunt with Riley because she didn't take 2 Earth Dog. But barn hunt, she really did take 2. And I think just because of our schedules and where we were in life at the time, it was hard for us we didn't know when to find out about the trials and stuff like that. But I regret not getting involved in it with her.
Yeah.
And here's why.
So we were at Earth Dog with Finley, and he was getting his senior title. He actually got it that weekend. But there was a group of people that had set up a barn hunt course event, whatever. But it was not sanctioned.
It was like a clinic. It was a clinic.
Yeah, it wasn't sanctioned.
And I will just say that Dansby, Finley and I had to wait in the car because when Finley would get to the field where Earth Dog was, he'd lose his mind. So it got to the point where we would have to stay in the car with Finley, and it's normally in the winter, so it's cold, so it's not a problem. But Finley couldn't go to the Earth Dog site until it was time for him to go because he worked himself up so bad.
Yeah.
So there was no way I could go with Michael and Riley into the barn hunt thing and get Finley all jazzed up before he had to work an Earth Dog course. So I didn't see any of this.
So I walked. It was up a hill, and I take Riley up there, and like a mixed breed shepherd goes before us, and I walked around. I think he even peed on something, and then walked out. And it was like, oh, okay. And you could tell they were expecting that. So here comes Riley, and they're doing what would be novice at the time. And they're not really even hiding the tubes that well. And they're like, here's what she has to do. She has to jump up on a bale of hay and then run through this tunnel and then find the rats. I said, oh, that's simple enough.
And they can do it in any order.
Right. So that's simple enough. So I set her down. She goes straight to the rat. I said, there's the rat. And they're like, yeah. And then she runs back to me through the tunnel and then jumps up on a bale and starts looking around. They're like, holy crap. That was like really fast. And I said, yeah, she's pretty good. And they're like, we're going to turn around and look that way. And we're going to put a whole bunch of other ones out. At one point, I'll shorten the story. But
because I guess they kept trying to stump Riley.
They kept, So at one point they had they had 2 rat tubes and like 6 either empty tubes or nesting tubes. Litter tubes. Spread everywhere. And I'm talking the 2 that had the rats in it buried. And I said, it doesn't matter. She hates rats. She is going to find them. Sorry, our camera died. Anyway,
the 2 rat tubes were buried.
Yeah. So.
And you said it doesn't matter. She hates rats.
She hates rats. So I set her down. She runs to the first one. Through the tunnel, by the way. She went through the tunnel, so she tunneled, found the first one, which was buried literally underneath 2 bales of pine straw. And then she turned around and went back to the front corner and found that one. And this is about the 4th or 5th run. And they're like, would it be possible for her to stay up here and help the other dogs that are having trouble learn how to do this so they could see her do it? And I said, sure. Yeah. So for the next 30 minutes, she was an instructor for barn hunt, but she tried to do.
You're going to
Earth
make me
Dog.
cry even more because I feel like if I had seen that, I probably would have been more.
She tried to do Earth Dog, and we had her in novice Earth Dog, which is just
Well,
a straight tunnel.
I don't think it's called. I think it's
I think it is
intro. I think
Intro,
that's what
yeah,
it's
it's
called.
intro to Earth Dog. Yeah, it's just a straight tunnel, right?
Is it straight or is there 190-degree tunnel?
No, it's straight.
Straight. Okay.
And so she would go into that tunnel, and she would find the rat and go and like start barking, and then she would start slowly backing up from.
Did she even go?
Yeah.
I remember the first time she went in a little bit, and then she just came out and walked around to where they were on, like where they were on the outside.
That became her MO after this one time. But I remember distinctly, she went in. They give me the thumbs up. Oh, she's there. And she would go, and you'd hear. And she didn't dig. Finley was a digger. She would bark, and then after about 10 seconds of that, she'd start backing up, and you'd see her little butt come up out of the hole. And she did not like the tunnel, and she didn't see the sense in it because she knew she could just go around the tunnel and up to where the rat opening was.
Yeah, the judge is back there where the little wooden box, I guess, where the rats are, and she was just so smart. She knew, like, I can just go here because that's where they are, and that's the quickest way to get there. Why would I get dirty?
Where Finley was a tunnel rat. Like that guy, he would go in tunnels, and you're like, I hope he comes out. But he was a searcher in a tunnel. I know at one point they said, and I don't have this. Don't quote me or anything. They said at one point he broke the record for junior Earth Dog getting to the quarry.
Wow.
He got there so quick.
Well, and I remember, and I know we've told this story before, but if I'm having a bad moment or I feel like I'm going to forget Finley or forget details of Finley and Riley, I'll think of things. And with Finley, I remember when he got his senior title, that little face coming out of the tunnel and just that smile, like, hey, Mom. Just so happy. Yeah. So whatever your sport is with your dog, do it. Don't, if you're interested in something, do it. It's so fun. It's so rewarding. It's enriching for you and your dog. And just like life, live without regrets. So
awesome.
Thanks for watching. This was longer than we thought, but share your comments and your stories with us. You can find us everywhere online at Dog Nerd Show. Drop us a line, dognerdshow@gmail.com if you'd like to be on the show. And
give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really helps us out. Helps us
a ton.
Yeah, it helps
we
us
want
with
more
the helps us with the YouTubes.
Yes. Subscribe and share. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.